Welcome back to the Deep Dive, listeners. Today we're going to be digging into something that's been on a lot of cricket fans' minds. The Sunrisers Hyderabad's, well, frankly, unexpected loss to the Gujarat Titans in IPL 2025.
Yeah, it was certainly an interesting match.
It was match 19, played this past Sunday, April 6th, at SRH's home ground, the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium in Hyderabad. And, this result really highlights the tough start they've had to their season, especially considering how strong they were last year.
Definitely a contrast to their previous form. I mean, they're sitting at the bottom of the league table now.
Exactly. One win in 5 matches, just 2 points, and a pretty rough net run rate.
Yeah.
And that's actually the worst net run rate in the entire league right now. Oof.
Not ideal, especially considering they were considered a top contender just last season. A real turnaround.
So in this deep dive, we're going to try to unpack what led to this particular loss for SRH against GT. And for context, GT is currently in second place with 3 wins out of 4 matches, 6 points, and a really solid net run rate. So clearly, they're on a roll.
Yeah, 3 consecutive wins. Momentum is definitely on their side.
Right. So while the sources we've got don't give us a blow-by-blow account of why SRH lost this specific match, the contrasting form of these two teams is kind of telling.
Absolutely. The difference in their current performance does raise some interesting questions.
What immediately jumps out at you when you see a team that was, one of the top performers last season, now struggling this much and losing at home, no less?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is the psychological impact of these consecutive losses. For SRH, this was their 4th loss in a row.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
And in a tournament like the IPL, which is so high pressure and fast-paced, that kind of negative momentum can be really hard to break. It can affect everything. Players start doubting themselves, maybe second-guessing their decisions on the field. The overall team confidence can really take a hit.
Right. So it's not just about the skills and the tactics. It's also about the mental game, the confidence factor.
Exactly. And you have to consider the opposite effect for GT, right? They're riding high on a winning streak. That kind of positive energy can lead to better execution, more decisive play. Everything just clicks a bit better.
Makes sense. So do you think GT might have actively targeted this vulnerability in SRH? I mean, could they have been looking to exploit weaknesses that SRH had shown in their previous losses?
It's definitely possible. A team on a winning streak is often more attuned to their opponent's weaknesses. They're more likely to analyze past games, really dissect the opposition's strategies and figure out where the pressure points are.
So they might have been specifically targeting, say, a key player in SRH's lineup or trying to exploit a weakness in their bowling attack.
Yeah, or noticing patterns in their batting order, tendencies they could capitalize on. That kind of strategic thinking becomes more refined when a team is winning.
This is what I find so fascinating. We have a team in SRH that, based on last year's performance, clearly has a talent. But something's just not working for them this season.
Right. The pieces are there, but the puzzle isn't coming together.
And this loss against GT, a team that's really in form, just amplifies that.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if there have been some big changes behind the scenes, maybe in the team dynamics, player roles, or even the overall game plan that haven't quite clicked yet.
It's a good point. Because if we look at the bigger picture, SRH's sudden drop in performance really raises some important questions about adaptability in the IPL.
How so?
Well, what worked for them last season might not be as effective this time around. Opponents would have had a whole year to study their tactics, figure out how to counter them, and it's possible SRH themselves are struggling to adapt to new conditions. Maybe the pitches are playing differently this year, or maybe opponents are coming at them with new strategies. GT's consistency, on the other hand, suggests they've found a formula that works, and they're sticking with it.
It's almost like in the IPL, you can be a dominant force one season and then fighting to stay afloat the next. It's a really competitive league.
It is, and this match against GT really highlights the challenges SRH is facing right now.
Absolutely. So to wrap things up, it seems like SRH, despite their past success, is really struggling to find their footing this season.
Yeah, the loss against GT was a clear indication of that.
But this begs the question for our listeners. Given SRH's proven ability, what do you think are the core issues holding them back this season? And what kind of strategic shifts do they need to make to regain their competitive edge in the remaining matches?
Lots to think about, for sure. It'll be interesting to see how they respond.
Definitely something to keep an eye on as the IPL unfolds. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. And as always, keep those cricket conversations going.
Absolutely. See you next time.
See you next time.